Hey guys, welcome to Home Sweet Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Ashley and I'm a homeschooling mom to one. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how I go about teaching other children in our homeschool. So they're kids that do not belong to me. And I actually had someone ask me about this probably back in December or January. And I apologize that it has taken me this long to make a video about it. But today I'm finally talking about it because somebody said, how do you even go about doing that? How do you go about teaching other people's children? And so I'm just going to share with you our experience and what I do. Now, I'm not like the head of a micro school or anything like that. I'm simply just a homeschooling mom who happened to help out a really good friend. And then my cousin asked me last year if I would help him. So I'm just going to share how we handle it in case that's something you want to do. So first I want to apologize. I'm fighting a summer cold. My nose is stopped up. I get out of breath very, very quickly. So if I sound tired, it's just because I have a cold. And then I also want to apologize for this monstrosity. This is just curriculum that I've cleaned out, that I've bought over the years and looked at, and we've either used it or not, and now it is time for it to go. So ignore that. Pretend like that's not there. All right, let's talk about teaching other people's children. Now for me, it was a pretty easy decision because I homeschool an only child, okay? I don't have 4 or 5 kids or even more than that. I just have a son. So if you're sitting here thinking, girl, I've got 6 kids of my own, I cannot do this, then this video is probably not for you. But if you're a mom who is interested in maybe making a little bit of extra money, or you just want to help somebody out, then this video may be for you. So, like I said, this kind of fell into my lap. I teach my son's best friend, and I have since my son was in the 5th grade, and he's going into 11th. So that's how long best friends been coming to my house. So we met them at co-op, and the mom, when the co-op, it was still going on, and she's like, hey, I'm a real estate agent. I don't know what I'm doing. I've bought Sunlight, but I feel like I'm not doing a good job. Do you think he might could homeschool with you? She knew that I was a former public school teacher, and so she's like, do you think that would work? And so we tried it, and so that just fell into my lap and worked out that way. And then last year, my cousin came to him and he's like, could you take my 2 youngest boys and do some math and language arts with them? And I'm like, let's do it. What's 2 more? So that's how mine came about. That's how I started doing that. But let's talk about some things you need to think about before you do it, okay? So first off, you do need to know what your state laws are. In our state, you can hire someone else to homeschool your children as long as they have a high school diploma or a GED. So I am certified to teach kindergarten through 6th grade. And I keep up my certification because I do plan on going back to teach school one day once my son graduates. So you do need to know if it's okay in your state to teach other people's children. That's good to know, first off. The next thing I would consider is this something you really want to do, and why do you want to do it? Is there somebody that you are trying to help out? Are you trying to create a community for your children because you want them to be around other kids? Are you trying to make some extra money? Whatever it is, you do need to decide why you want to do it, because if your heart's not in it, then it's probably not going to go well. You got to really want to work with other families for this to happen. And so once you decide what your why is, you got to figure out how to find your people. Like I said, my people fell into my lap. It just so happened that best friend needed somewhere to go to learn, and he could learn alongside my son. And then same for my cousin's boys. I already did it. I've been homeschooling for a long time. And he's like, hey, could they just come and join your homeschool? And so that's what happened. I do not go out and look for other people. I'm not trying to run a mini school here. I've worked in the school system. So you have to decide, how are you going to find those people? You could let people know at co-op that you're willing to do it. You could even put it out on Facebook, but that's a whole nother can of worms when you put it out into public and it's open to anybody. So that's going to be up to you. And I can't really tell you much about that because my people came to me. So decide how you're going to find your people. You may already have your people and just want to know, how does this work? So let's just talk about it. The next thing I want you to think about is the schedule. So when we originally started this with the best friend, he did unit studies along with us. So they were much younger. He was in 3rd grade. My son was in 5th grade. And we were able to start at 10 o'clock in the morning. His mom would bring him. We would start our unit studies. We'd have lunch. Then we do some math, and then he would go home after they'd hung out for a little bit. But as they've gotten older, and he also only came on Tuesday and Thursday. As he's gotten older and my son's gotten older, their schedules for themselves have kind of changed. So my son and I, we like to have Mondays and Fridays free. So we don't do any school on Monday unless we're having to make up a day. We like to keep Mondays open because we do things with our other homeschool friends on Mondays. And then Fridays are the same way. Once we're done with school on Fridays, we can go do fun things with our other homeschool friends. So those days are ours. And so when I originally started with Best Friend, he would come on Tuesday and Thursday. But as they've gotten older, like I said, my son prefers to get up in the morning, do his exercise routine, get ready for the day, and he's ready to start by 9:30 or 10, and he likes to be done with his work by 1 o'clock. He wants to knock out as much as he can, have lunch, be done by 1:30. That's kind of his thing. Best Friend, he likes to sleep a little bit later, which is completely fine. He's a growing teenage boy and he likes to sleep, and we have the flexibility. So he doesn't come until 1 o'clock because that's what works best for him. Now, if you're like, hey, that ain't gonna get it, that's not gonna cut it at my house. We get up, we start at 8, we're done by 2. No, nobody can come. That's fine because you're gonna set that schedule. You can let them know ahead of time. When you're talking to the parents about this, like, hey, this is the time that we homeschool. If you want your child to do this, they need to be here these days, this time, okay? And that's perfectly fine. But for us, I'm at home anyway, and it really doesn't matter. Like, I'm gonna be here in the afternoons anyway. My stuff is already finished with my son. So if the other child wants to come at 1, that's fine. So now he comes 3 days a week because of course his load's a little bit bigger. He's older now. And so he actually comes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 1 until about 4, sometimes later if they're just hanging out. And so he'll stay till 5. I don't care how long he stays. He's my son's best friend. They hang out. They're no trouble. I don't care. But you have got to set that up. You've got to decide what days are you going to be available to teach these other children and what are the hours going to look like. Now for my cousin's boys who are a little bit younger, and my cousin's like, hey, if you'll just help them get caught up in language arts and math, I can handle the rest. So they only come Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 3. They come in the afternoon because that's when we have somebody that can bring them. My cousin works full time. And so the only time they have someone that can bring them, it's my aunt, and she can come at that time and pick them up when she's going to get their brothers from the middle school and high school. So that's when they come. And that's what works for them. And it works for us. But you have to decide what is the schedule going to look like. And you've got to offer that to the parents, or you can be flexible and see what works for them. But that is something to think about. The last thing I want you to think about is what curriculum are you going to use? Now, if you are going to say, hey, I like this curriculum, this is what we're doing, we're all going to learn the same thing, but at their level, then you need to be upfront about that first. For us, we did start off using the same curriculum. We were using unit studies, but as I had worked with this other child, I realized that really wasn't what worked well for him. And so as he's gotten older, his mom's like, hey, what do you recommend? And so I just let her know, like, hey, I recommend these things for him. I think this is going to work for him. I send her links to all the things that I suggest. She looks at it, and if she likes it, she orders it. Then she brings it to me. I get everything ready, all the teacher's guides, all the work he needs, everything set up. I make his schedule for the week, and that's what we do. So he uses a lot of master books, and then my son uses all unit studies. And then the 2 boys that I work with on Tuesday and Thursday, my cousin's like, hey, I just don't have the extra money. Is there something free that we can use? And so we use the Good and the Beautiful for those 2 boys, and it works out perfectly fine. Now you may be thinking, that's too much. That's just too much. If you're gonna have that many kids in your house, and I've got my own kids, I can't manage all those different kids. And I totally get that. I get that. I'm used to being pulled in 100 different directions because I taught kindergarten. I had anywhere from 20 to 25 kids on varying levels, and I'm used to being pulled in a million directions at one time. But if that's not what you want, if that sounds like chaos to you and you can't work out the times and everybody has to be there at the same time, then it may be better that you just go ahead and say, hey, this is the curriculum we're going to be using. This is where you can look at it. this is what we'll be doing. So that way you've got regular, like rules covered, you've got your why covered, you've got your schedule, like what are your days, your times. You also need to think about time off and all those kind of things if someone's sick. You know, we just let everybody know, like, hey, we're sick, we're not feeling good. And it's easy because these are our close friends and relatives. But if they're not your close friends and relatives, you got to think about things like that. So definitely think about your schedule, your time off. Think about your curriculum. Think about, do I really want to manage that many people? Are these people going to get along with my children? Because if your homeschool's going really smoothly and things are looking great and you start teaching other people's kids and bring them into the mix, it may not be as smooth sailing as it is right now. Now it could be, it could go perfectly well. Like ours, all the kids get along, they love hanging out with each other, works out fine, but that may not be the case for everybody. So like I said, this is my experience. This is how I ended up teaching other children going into this year doing the same thing. And you have to decide if that's what if that's right for you and if that's what you want for your homeschool. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, because I'm not an expert on this. Like somebody just said, hey, can you talk about teaching other people's kids? And I'm like, yes, I can. So if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below and I'll do the best I can to answer them. And as always, thank you so much for watching.